What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 505 interview series. Big D coming to you from the 505 Summer Lounge, aka the Ugly Mugly Lounge, because man, it is hot and muggy and gross out. Ugh. So, hope you're all doing well. Excited to be back. Got a great guest tonight, but before we get started with the guest, I want to remind everybody about my new product sponsor, Zyphy Cigar Accessory. Yes, they have now come on board. They make fantastic cigar accessories for anybody, and it's inexpensive. You're not going to dump a ton of money on a bunch of stuff that doesn't work. Y'all remember that lighter or the Calibre cutter I had that broke after 3 days, and then I couldn't get a hold of them to get it? Nah, Zyphy has a lifetime guarantee on everything that they manufacture. So get on over to ZyphyCigarAccessory.com, promo code 505CR. It'll save you some coinage when you check out. Zyphy also wants you to be aware that come October, the whole month of October, they're running a huge sale over on their Amazon page and their website. So be on the lookout for that if you want to save even more money and then use even more money by using my promo code 505CR. So thank you to our brand new product sponsor, Zyphy Cigar Accessory. Tonight, my guest, I got to meet this dude in Vegas at PCA. I loved him from the start. Honest, open, outspoken, says the shit that the big brands aren't going to tell you. And if you've been a part of the industry like I have, working for brands as well as being in the media for as long as I have, you know that when he's talking, comes across as talking shit, he's talking the truth, and that's all he does. He spits the truth. His brand is RSON Cigars. I'm excited to have him on. So let's bring him on right now. Boom.
Yo.
Araia, welcome, sir.
What's going on?
Good.
Hello,
I hand it
everyone.
over to you, sir. You can let people know about you, who you are, what you're all about.
My name is Araia Tesfamarian. I am the CEO and really director of operations for RSON Cigars. We're based in Alexandria, Virginia. I specialize in very small batch blends. We take our time. We age our cigars for a long time after they roll. We want it to taste perfect. We do everything from light to full body, but we're more focused on a great smoking experience. We also have our own proprietary accessory called the Fire Lance, which is a unique 3-in-1 tool that we have patented. But our interest really is in providing the best smoking experience, because there's a million cigars, there's a million accessories. You could buy anything. We want you to connect, having a great time, a great conversation, a great moment of reflection, enjoyment, whatever have you, with our products. And that's what we're about. You can hit me up anytime on IG or on email, or just go to arsonfire.com and message me there. It doesn't matter. On IG, I'm see what am I? Arson.connoisseur. So just hit me up. No, Arson.aficionado. I'm getting old. I'm getting really old. But Arson.aficionado on IG. Connoisseur might be the TikTok. Anyway, do the IG, Arson.aficionado. Hit me up.
That's right.
But
and if anybody watching on Facebook or YouTube, I got links to everything Arson down in the description, so you can directly kick it. And if you're on LinkedIn, you'll have to figure out which link takes you where.
Now, our paths, you and I, we're parallel in many ways, because I spent the vast majority of my career in media. I went to film school. I've been a copywriter. I've produced commercials. I've produced broadcast shows for televangelists. I've worked for Nat Geo TV, but I've also been smoking cigars since 1999. So there's a lot there. Here's one crazy thing for you. I used to live in Clovis,
New Mexico.
Yes, sir.
Oh, military.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I was, but my parents, the first base we were stationed at was Cannon Air Force Base in Clovis, New Mexico, which is not the end of the earth, but you can see it from there.
You can pretty much home of the flying Pintos.
Yeah. But that was our first base. So there's a lot of stuff. See, look at you. I see that. Now you have people going to fight you over that pig, because that was never really for sale to everybody. That was yeah, that could get you in trouble. Hide that one. I hide that one. The alphas will come looking for it.
There we go. There. All right. So I got these. I got these two.
Yeah, that's the golden dragon and the upper kingdom. Yeah, no, guys, look, they're great smokes. I make great smokes. Am I the only one who does it? No, I make great smokes. You're not buying the cigars, you're buying me. And I really want you to connect with me and say, look, I'm proud to know this guy. He makes a great product. I enjoy it. He actually gives a damn. That's why I smoke it. And that's really what I want you to associate with RSON Cigars and everything we make is you can have a real connection to the person who actually makes the product. And our industry is one of the few industries where that's the case. Like, you're never going to hang out with the head of Coca-Cola, but you can hang out with Matt Booth or Carlito for a second. It can happen. I mean, it's our industry is still a very handshake industry, and you can do that.
That's right. And I can tell you that the head of Coca-Cola, definitely doesn't know who the hell I am. I'm a number in their system.
Yep. Well, it's a big system. It's a big system. So fair enough.
That's
fair
right.
Enough. So, by the way, you picked a great night. It's the perfect weather out here. All summer it has been like ridiculously muggy, or if one or two nights it was like actually freezing cold out here. You picked the perfect night. This is the best night for cigars. It's that kind of weather where you don't feel it. It's like no weather. It's the perfect night. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, it's all muggy here. It's not something I'm used to.
Whoa, so where are you right now?
I'm in northern Colorado, southeast Wyoming.
Okay, well, wait. Hold on. You're in northern Colorado, but on the logo on your show, it looks like the sun from the New Mexico flag.
I am. I'm from New Mexico.
Okay. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I know that.
Yes, I'm born and raised in northern New Mexico.
Okay. Oh, you're up near the mountains, man. That's
up in from Espanola.
Okay.
The lowrider capital of the world.
That
home of the most heroin deaths per capita.
That's crazy.
Well, it was back when I was growing up. It was.
My only memories of Mexico. I mean, I did go to Albuquerque once, but I was basically stuck in Clovis, or we'd have to like go across the border into like Lubbock.
To Lubbock.
Yeah. But it was like, the people were nice. It's just like nothing there.
That's right. It's all agriculture. That's all it is.
Even as a kid, I was like, well, where are we? Where are we? But if anybody's out there in Clovis, I went to Sacred Heart, went to Ranchville, which is now closed. But if anybody, what's up? I got love for you, even though it's boring as fuck out there.
Yeah, it is. Oh, man. So what piqued your interest in wanting to get into the cigar industry?
Nothing.
From being a consumer?
Nothing. This is an accident. I had worked in cigar retail, so that had happened, and so I knew that side of the business. I knew about how much inventory you'd carry. I knew how Keystone worked. I knew, how different manufacturers deal with you, what they insist, what they don't insist, who does what, where, why, and how. From insisting that they build their own cabinet, you know who you are, to insisting how many facings they have to have on the shelf. So I knew all that. And I knew sort of the ups and downs of that business. Like I said, I come out of marketing and advertising and video production, especially post-production. But I've won awards as a copywriter. I understand marketing very well. So a friend of mine who was smoking cigars next to me at a shop down the street asked me if I could just help him market his new product, which became the Firelance, but at that point was just a prototype. And I said, "Oh, well, this is really cool. Are you ready to sell this?" He says, "No." I said, "Well, how are you going to brand?" He said, "Oh, we have cigars." I said, "Cool." So I said, "Well, where are the cigars? Let's see what we're looking at here. I'll help you. I can figure out the social media strategy. I can go start hitting the streets and talking to shops." And he's like, "Well, we don't really have them yet." And I said, "Well, who's in charge of that?" And they showed me to that guy, and I talked to that guy. Nice guy, but I think that particular person wasn't quite ready for prime time as far as just getting an idea to fruition and delivery. So I said, look, if you want me to help you, this is what we're going to have to do. We'll start with some really small releases. I'll figure out where to get the tobacco. I'll figure out how to do the bands and the boxes. I'll figure it out. There's a lot of learning by doing it. And the person who had asked me to help them market sort of as a consultant decided to say, hey, look, I'd like you to be a part of this. So I said, okay. And he made me a partner, said, you're taking this over. Oh, wait, I know who that is. Hey, what's up?
Yes, right. That's my crush, Michelle.
Yeah. What's up? I know exactly who that is.
That's right. Her and Monique and me hung out all throughout Denver for Rocky Mountain Cigar Fest.
Monique's everywhere. Monique's superstar. She's everywhere.
She is. And
she knows Monique knows everybody. It's unbelievable. But he wanted me. This guy wanted me to take over. So we ended up being business partners. I ended up being majority share owner. That happened because our first 3 releases sold out. I think each of them sold out within 3 weeks after release. And it was all during the pandemic. This is like right when the pandemic started. So the mail order thing was just humming. It was going great. Still is, actually. And we have grown and expanded from there. So we're in a few shops now. We're going to be in a few more. Actually, our fire lances are in shops too. I can't tell you about the other thing yet that we talked about off, but that's coming. There are some really disruptive things happening. We can do things different because we're a small company. So we have the freedom to market how we want and be as creative as we want. It's a lot of fun, but my number one rule is if something comes out of our, basically if it comes out of our office and it's in a box, I want to know that when you get it, it's a great smoke. And if it's not, we got a problem. So I don't do the widget approach to cigars. And let me tell you, it's tempting because I'd make a lot of money doing it. I would make a lot of money doing just that. I know people in this business who started the same time I did, and I think a few of them bought stuff that fell off the back of a truck.
That was a lot of the pandemic brands that started up there in 2020, which were off the back of a truck, out of the bundle section at their local shop, and just slapping a band. And I must have been hit up by, during 2020, 2021, at least 50 companies who wanted to be showcased, but they couldn't even answer the basic questions I asked them. I was like, oh, that's secret. I'm like, look, I'm not going to tell anybody. I don't want to know what your secret sauce is, but I need to know something about the cigar. And if you can't give it to me, then I'm just going to call bullshit.
Well, I started the brand by selling to my fraternity brothers first, because my fraternity brothers started a Zoom call a month into the pandemic on lockdown. And I should say one guy in particular, Joel White out of Atlanta, started this Zoom call for our fraternity of cigar smokers only. And there we go. Well done, sir. There we go. Hanging on there. Hanging on. It's a great smoke.
It's very good. The aromatics are fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, he says about his own cigar. That's terrible. My ego's out of control. But this guy is a genius, Joel. He set up the Zoom, and it's like 40, 50 guys on there twice a week, all smoking cigars. When they found out that I had a line, they were the first customers. And that's when I knew we were going to be all right, because if they didn't like it, they were going to let me know. Like, if it's trash, they weren't going to hold back. So it was a great way to A/B test a product. So there's stuff you haven't seen, because there was stuff that didn't make it. Okay, that's not going to work. Get it out.
So you coming in from the retail side on that, did you utilize your contacts form at manufacturing plants to get what you want made?
No. Well, yes and no. It wasn't direct.
Okay.
Actually, most come from friendships. I mean, it's like you're in and around that industry, and there were people in my life who just would give me advice. I won't mention her name because she probably doesn't want me to mention her name, but there was a lady very influential in the development of La Polina, a brand that's no longer around, called Cornelius and Anthony. But this woman was brilliant, is brilliant. And she taught me a lot. Her brother taught me a lot. It's good people. I'm not going to put their names out there because they probably don't want to, but there's very good people that said, hey, look, you should talk to so-and-so, or I can get you to talk to so-and-so. But I found that developing my own relationships helps, because if somebody knows you one-on-one, that's when you can really start to get a deal done. So, and also, if you do business with somebody over time, you can develop a relationship. It's not easy. It's very expensive. When you're small and you're buying very small numbers, the price is high. Even people who like you are going to charge you a lot of money. I mean, if you design a band and you only order the minimum, which is like 1,500 bands, let's say, you're going to pay almost $1,000 when it's all said and done just for that. If you buy 10,000 bands, it's only like 2,500. Like it's like there's like a threshold. So if you only need so much, it's like costing you all the money in the world. If you need a bunch, in the greater scheme of things, it's not a lot of money. Obviously, scale is the issue at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I believe so. But I mean, so you came in with a built-in audience already with your fraternity.
Yes.
Members,
Oh yeah. No,
and then after things started loosening up, did you start running and hitting the road a little bit on trying to put into physical brick and mortars, or did you just want to continue with the word of mouth? Hey, here's my website, come by.
So yes and no. So what's going on now is the design of our first real proper boxes. Everything was in pouches, right? We were shipping everything. Everything was in pouches. And that really doesn't fly with shops. Like, they want the old school traditional box, got to look nice, the whole nine, sit on the shelf, have a good facing. And that's just the game. And, to make enough volume of product so that you can go to, 50 stores and make sure they each have 4 boxes and you can replenish and all that. It's a lot of money. Whereas I was able to do just almost on demand, small bunches and batches of these pouch, 5-count cigars. So you're talking about a different level of cash you're forking over up front. We're just now getting to that stage. So once I am comfortable with how much I have sitting and aging properly in the boxes, that's when I'll hit the road. It's not like I don't have the relationships in the DMV. That's not the issue. That's not a problem. But yeah, no, you have to hit the road on some level. Although I will tell you that for a small company, the online is always going to be big because the margin is so much better.
Yeah.
The margin,
well, you're cutting, that cutting out the middleman process by you being the manufacturer, the distributor, and the shipper.
Right. Right.
You cut that out, which I don't understand why a lot of shops want to continue. They complain about not having the space, and boxes take that up. Where going with the pouch or going with the 10-pack butcher paper saves so much space, and you can expand out your humidor more with other brands. And that's one thing I don't understand quite about shops on why when it has to be in a box. And I'm like, but the butcher paper is just as good.
Or, a more enterprising shop owner might say, look, I'm going to get a couple of the big trays and I'm going to sit several smaller brands in these trays, and that'll be the boutique section. It'll be easier. I mean, you could do any number of things if you wanted to. There's ways around it. I've even done like porcelain jars, which I think Viaje did with some of his products. I've done some of those. That there's a problem there because it's not as visible. Like, I've tested it. And
because that's something that's got to be like, it's right at the front at the register when you're checking out, and it's almost it's an impulse when they're in those acrylic jars, they're almost an impulse buy. It's like, oh, I'm checking out. Well, what's this? You're and you're right. Unless you're a notable brand out there like Viaje, where it's like, oh, because Viaje is not readily available in every shop. So if they have it and it's in acrylic, it's not so much an impulse buy as it is.
I can't remember. I can't remember who did it. I want to say it was Punch. One of the more clever I'm always looking for clever packaging to you never know what could be affordable or different. There's several Chinese food. I don't want to use the
Oh
wrong
yeah,
culture
they
because
they use the takeout box.
the takeout box. They had two different types of takeout box. Remember, they had
Yes.
the small one, and then they had that foil joint with the lift off top. And I was like, okay, now that I wish I had thought of that, because not only is that packaging cheap, but every shop owner is going to put that out front because it looks weird. And it's like, that's brilliant, you know.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
there, and then they also have the acrylic Mr. Punch.
yeah. Well,
You know,
that's more old school. Like that's been around.
yeah, that's
But
been around, but it's eye catching.
yeah,
So
oh yeah. No, it's and that's like marketing. Unfortunately, is more the business than anything else.
well, if you had
People are
General Cigars marketing budget, you could probably think of that stuff to put out there too.
well, I can think of it already. Got to pay for it. That's what you're talking about.
Yes, they would pay for you to put that out.
Um, well, also, when you're dealing with customers, once again, it isn't going to the shops. I don't really believe that's what solves it for a small brand. It's meeting people, because the shops, even if they buy it, then look,
They want
are
you to
they
work the humidor. Is
are
what they
you
want you to do.
are they going to push it? I mean, they got a lot to do in that shop. Are they really going to push your
No,
brand?
and very,
No.
very few will. They want you to
Right.
come into the shop. They want you to work the humidor for them. They want you to
Right.
do the work because they don't have the time or they don't have the knowledgeable staff to work
Right.
that humidor.
Right. But it isn't even. I mean, you could say, I get the part where you say work the humidor. I would almost go the other way and say what they really want is for you to come by, sit around, hang out with the guys, let them get to know you. Because once again, people, if they can feel a part of something, they're going to enjoy a great product that much more. And so if you're able to, and Rocky was probably the best at it. He went everywhere. I mean, he went everywhere and connected with everybody for years. And that's how he built a brand more than anything else, is he shook every hand out there.
Yeah.
And he, Matt Booth was really good about it. I mean, there's a lot of guys who really, really, really hit the road. And, all credit to them for doing that. I can do that to a certain extent regionally. And I will continue to do that. But for right now, the social media piece obviously works. The most cost-effective use of time, obviously. It allows me more time shipping, allows me more time to discover new blends or to figure out what I want to re-release or not release or whatever. But yeah, you do have to hit the road. You do have to go out and shake hands and kiss some babies, because people need to know who you are. There's just too many brands. It's just, you have to stand out. And the way you're going to stand out is people get to know you.
Yeah. So this being your first PCA with RSON brand out there, how did you feel it went for you personally as a brand?
I had a lot of issues only because some of it I won't connect to PCA. I wasn't really happy with the staging company that they were using, that I had to pay for. That if I hadn't arrived early, me and every other cigar brand in my row would have had nothing, no pipe and drape, no power, no. It was a mess. But that got situated. I don't know how it's going to work for small brands going forward. I hope that they make some changes. I did speak with a few people who are part of the organizational thing. They're very nice. But I'm hoping that they figure out a different way to handle small brands. There was a guy next to me. I know we're talking about my brand, but just real briefly, this guy next to me, wonderful guy. He had a brand called Aroma de Nicaragua. And I'll tell you,
that stick was banging,
bro. Now, if that had Dion Giolito's name on it or Matt Booth's name on it, them cigars have been out. There'd have been a line. Once they had it, people would have lost their minds. But because he's a smaller brand and he's off in a corner somewhere, how do you get discovered? And the stores know this. The stores do their appointments the first 2 days, the first 3 days, the very last 2 days or last day, they come through and see if they can get a deal, scavenging around the back of the convention hall. And it's like, you're missing out on some amazing talent back here, and some new relationships, which, by the way, we're not going to make you take 10 facings of stuff that you can't sell anyway, just so you can get the special release twice a year or 3 times a year. They're going to have to figure out, for guys like him, me, for the guys that, what was it, Heavenly? Is that the one next to me?
Lovely Cigars.
Lovely. You're going to beat me up for saying Heavenly. Lovely. I said Heavenly because one of them's the preacher, and he was pestering me the whole time. Good guys. Guys like us, ladies too, who have great blends, family loyalty. My boy, his name's escaped me now. But they got you were smoking it the other day on your IG. Was it Family by Loyalty?
So yeah, I work with Family by Loyalty.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So I don't want to get you into trouble.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good.
But
you're good.
Those are my guys. And what up, Ernie? If you're watching. But those guys are talented. Those guys are really, really talented, and they're gonna have to figure out placement and trying to, like, if you're just gonna take all the big brands and shove them out front, and then everybody else. There was a guy behind us facing the wrong way. He was basically facing the exit. He had a really cool packaging product. No one ever saw him. He was facing nobody. And you just can't have that. You've got to be able to arrange things so that everybody can get more equal time. Now, the big guys are going to push back against that because they say we pay the money, we pay the this. And that's fine. Although I would argue they already know who you are, so they're coming.
Yeah, that's right. And it doesn't look. You're not going anywhere. The only thing you're doing is offering some sort of unique discount for being here and buying. But at the end of the day, Fuente's not going anywhere. Padron's not going anywhere. Rocky's not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere.
Hold on 1 second. Mom, I had three. Mom. I had three. My mother-in-law is trying to get me to drink more coffee. It's a ceremonial thing because you have to take 3 servings of the Ethiopian coffee. I apologize if I look crazy, guys. My mother-in-law does not care that we're streaming. Sorry about that. No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. It's like I'm never coming to Fuente. Are you kidding? Yeah. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna. I'm an accounting error. If that, I might be the paperclip budget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I talked with, I talked to Alan, Family by Loyalty, and Ernie.
Alan, my God, there we go. Yeah.
And so he goes, "Do you think we should do this again next year, be in the pavilion?" And I said, honestly, no, I don't. I don't like a lot of how the marketing was done on it, the signage, the fact that, even the BCA they didn't take out ads anywhere. They did a terrible job promoting on their own. That BCA affiliated shops had no clue that was up there. They said no. He goes, well, Jonas from Blackbird, because Jonas makes his cigars, asked if I wanted to do a dual booth with him next year. I go, you'd be stupid not to, because Jonas is the name. I go, how many times did people have logistic or tax questions? You had to go run over to the Blackbird booth to go get it answered. Right. I go, if you're at a booth with them and you get those questions, there's the guy that can answer it for you. You're here. It benefits Jonas to have you there because the more you sell, the more money he makes.
Yeah, if I were to do it again, I would spend more money. It sounds counterintuitive, but I would spend more money and I would not make the focus of the larger space that I would get selling RSON cigars. What I would do is I would try to create a big space with as much comfortable seating and smoking areas as possible, with a few non-alcoholic beverages around. And I would actually go out and just pull people. I would tell people like Alan, you know what? Post up here, bring some product. Call my boys the definition. No, post up here, bring some product. We're all just going to sit in here and kick it. And then we're going to just invite the smaller store owners for one around to come have a drink, have a sip with us and talk with us and make it our own little sort of pavilion or cabal that you deal with. Because what I figured out is like, it'd be better if you could funnel everybody into one spot and they're hitting different things right then and there, but they're also comfortable and having a good time. The BCA Pavilion, it looked too much like you were walking through the mall.
Yes, it was
Like
just
I'm selling cell phone cases.
yes,
It did.
exactly. I felt that too.
Yeah. So there's you're gonna have to get creative. So if I were to do it again, because the one good thing that came out of the PC, I will give them this. They did give us a list of every vendor. I mean, of every shop that came, all their contact info. So if I was doing it again, I'd say, "Oh, come by our pavilion, come sit down, take a load off, have some food, relax, and then okay, Alan, go pitch to them. Get my boys a definition. Go pitch to them, and like we're all just in one space, and you're gonna get attention if you do something disruptive, and people start to get irritated with you because you're doing something different than what they expect you to do. Then you know you're doing the right thing. So that's what I would do if I were going to do it again. I'd do something a little bit disruptive and say, okay, no, I'm not going to, yeah, arson booth. No. We're just going to, we're going to have a free for all in here and go crazy, and try to do a different approach. Because it's like, if you're not in the in groups at these conferences, like the after parties, you have to know the right people to get into these things, and who are you with, and who'd you get the, and thankfully I had some friends who were connected to some other people, and they were like, hey, Ray, you want to go to that? Sure, I'll go. But I wouldn't have known where to go, where to be. I'd have been just twiddling my thumbs. So
that's basically how I get into all this stuff. Even if my name's on the list to get in, they still won't let me in most of the time. I have to go get somebody. I'm like, hey, they're not letting me in. But yes, you're right. It's all about who you know. It's
very clicky. It's very clicky.
PCA is definitely all about clout.
It's very clicky, and I get it. Look, it's a business of personalities. I'm not gonna hate on anybody, but those guys earned their spots. So no point in hating on them. They earned everything they got. God bless them. But it is a little clicky. You'd like it to not be, but it's okay. It's not their responsibility to do anything for us. I don't have that expectation. PCA is there to serve the interests of the industry, and their focus is the bigger guys. And I understand. I get it. But I pay a membership too. So it's like, hey, don't forget, like maybe we should the map changed. Did you notice that?
Yes. Well, so when they first announced the BCA Pavilion, it was supposed to be right up front the moment you walk in the door. You're supposed to be greeted by that pavilion. And then somehow that got moved to that back corner by the food court, which they tried to spin as a good thing. Hey, people are going to come back here. And nobody went back there to eat. So it was stupid.
But the map actually changed more.
Well, yeah, because you had some of these other brands that jumped in last second, like General Cigars and a couple of these other brands, bigger brands that came in. They've never really done PCA.
Well, the original map that I saw when I purchased, because I actually didn't buy the smallest booth. I actually paid for placement, so I paid a little bit more, which is fine, my choice. But I wasn't towards the back on that map. And then the map changed about a week or two before the event, and suddenly, like, all this space behind me had been eliminated. So even though technically I hadn't moved positionally, because so many rows had been eliminated behind me, we were now at the back. And it's a different flow of traffic at that point.
Yeah.
And so you learn a lot by doing it. Look, some great people that work at PCA, some good friends of mine that worked very hard on that event. Is a very tough thing to do. So it's when I'm being critical of it, it's more out of, hey, I know you want to help us, but you're going to have to make some changes to help us. And they have a pretty tall task, because they're dealing with a lot of big companies, a lot of egos, a lot going on there. So It isn't easy what they do. It isn't easy.
And I'm interested to see how it changes moving over to the convention center this year than how it's been set up the last few years at the Sands.
What's up, Messi? What's the deal? People throwing up the ice. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's some alphas on here. But yeah, and I don't want to do a whole PCA. Look, it's not the PCA's responsibility to market my brand. It's my responsibility.
No, it's your responsibility.
It's my responsibility now, but it's also my responsibility to decide where my dollars go. And so I've got to figure that out, because when I look at the money I spend, I go, okay, now how many boxes of my new release could I have made? Quite a few. So and now that I know that I can move the product, my issue is not moving product. If I have the product to move, I'll move it. So it's like, okay, when I'm looking at next year, and they've moved it up, I think, to May.
March.
March. Oh, it's in March.
Yeah, it's 6 weeks after TPE at the that third week in March.
Yeah, and so yeah, for me, I have to really think about, because it's coming sooner than later. So I really have to think about how that's going to work, and will it be, it depends. I think where I'm at with our releases and how much I want to push. And it may be that I wait till the following year to go back, because I like being there. I like meeting the people. I met really cool people in the business. Like I said, the people who were in our row at PCA were amazing, really creative, amazing people who had great products. So it's really cool to network and meet these great people. And so that part is fun. Because you never know who you're going to work with or create something with. So I don't want to miss out on that. But yeah, I really have to think long and hard before I think about committing. Because I will tell you, for those of you who don't know, I can give you a ballpark number for what it's going to take to get a small 10 by 10 booth with the most basic furniture, for you to fly yourself out, get a hotel, feed yourself, maybe take somebody out to dinner if you're dealing with a client. The minimum spend is $10K. That is the bare bones spend if you are going to vend at PCA. Bare bones.
Bare bones.
So to do it right, it's closer to 15 for a 10 by 10. And if you want to do an end cap and bring an assistant, help out, or bring some friends to help out, you're up to 30 grand really quickly. So, but the furniture rentals were out of control. I mean, it was like, if you wanted to rent furniture, the minute you start renting furniture, you could tack on $5,000 to that bill immediately. So, brands really have to make some serious decisions when they start spending money like this.
Yeah, and I think that I don't see a problem going with the card table and folding chairs.
It's not. Here's the thing. People do shop with their eyes.
Yeah,
that's a problem. I mean, there's guys like Caldwell who sort of go the other way.
Caldwell don't care what you think. Caldwell will have a broken table.
I like Robert. He's really funny, and I like his product, and he's really creative, and gets packaging, gets marketing, and he gets it. But he definitely will sort of, poke his finger in the eye of whatever you think is appropriate. I walked by the booth and I was like, are they still unpacking?
It's like that at every trade show with Caldwell, though. It's just kind of like, what's the basic of the basic of the basic we can do?
Well, hold on. This was not my first PCA. It was my first PCA as a vendor. I went with a retailer because I was working for that retailer. Like I said, I'm not going to put the name out there. Went 2015, the last time I was in New Orleans. And Caldwell actually had a cool booth. Like it wasn't expensive, but he had like really cool imagery, and it was kind of set up nice. It wasn't clean and neat, but it was still kind of cool. He went hardcore this time. I mean, I thought we were on Skid Row in LA, and I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? But at the same time, it was kind of smart because everybody was talking about it. So he gets it. I have to give him credit. He gets it.
He does. He gets it out there.
I encourage everybody, by the way, to support the smaller brands that are really trying to provide you the best of it. Family Bar Loyalty, you know, Alan and Ernie, those guys are amazing. Aroma de Nicaragua, Hernan at Aroma de Nicaragua is an amazing guy, great feeling man, but also cares about the product and makes Nicaraguan tobacco that doesn't taste like a spice bomb because it's not supposed to. Jesus Christ, it gets on my nerves. You guys have been tricked. You've been tricked. You're just smoking young shit, and they go, "Oh, it's Zing." No, no, it's not. It's ammonia. And Hernan at Aroma de Nicaragua proved me right because when I smoked that product, I went, "Oh, this is what it's supposed to be." Because that Perfecto was Jesus, and that's look. You say, okay, well, why aren't you talking about your product? It's not that I don't want to market my product; it's that I actually love this. So if somebody's really good, I want to talk about it. If I really enjoy their cigar, I don't care. I'm not really competing with them anyway. Like there's people smoke what they like and they can learn about new blends, but they're always going to like their old standby. So you're never really competing. You're just offering to expand what they might be interested in anyway. I'm not going to tell anybody not to smoke something. I'm like, no, if that's a really great product, that's a great product. Smoke it.
No, like that's the thing that really with a lot of the smaller brands out there is that there's that support of all the of other brands out there, and and if you tell me about a brand that you've been smoking recently, oh, I want to check that out.
Right.
I'm interested in that because as somebody who manufactures cigars and manufactures a fucking awesome cigar, by the way, this thing is
Thank you. I appreciate it.
it's delicious. If you recommend a stick, I'm gonna check it out.
Right. Right.
The bigger brand guys out there, they're not gonna tell me to go check some of it. It's their stuff, and their stuff's the
Right.
best and
Right.
out there. But you introduced me at PCA to Hernan at Aroma de Nicaragua when I was walking by, and
I had to. I had to. It was too good. It's too good.
that were
Too good.
phenomenal,
Too good.
phenomenal. Yeah,
It's too good.
so
Too good.
I think that that's kind of what separates out a lot of the smaller brands that when we talk about the community, the cigar community in that,
right.
Smaller brands are consumers too. It's not
Yeah.
all
Well,
about their
I,
brand.
I, I usually judge people on how they support other people. So, by the way, what's up, Monique? Monique's superstar. She's on here now. Um, she's a superstar. She helped me out a lot
Yes.
in Vegas and kept me in shape and kept good foot in my behind to get me
She
going.
was super cool to hang out with in Denver
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I know. No, look, she's everywhere. It's just you cannot. If you're trying to keep up with Mo, you can forget it. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. But yeah, I tend to watch people and see how they are when they interact with other people who have brands, and those are the people that I tend to deal with and gravitate towards and want to do business with. Is if I see them treating other people well, who aren't important, they're just regular folks, and they're treating them well, then I know I can deal with it. And that's kind of, I mean, that's once again Alan and Ernie or Hernan at Aroma de Nicaragua, or the guys at Lovely. The guys at Lovely were amazing. Um, those brands, those are the people that deserve to be talked about because they actually care. You can tell when it's cynical. You
Yeah.
can tell definition. The guy's a definition. If you haven't had definition cigars, they have a Salomon that's unbelievable. Um, uh, but you can tell the guys who are cynical though, because they tend to be very self-interested. They tend to be almost standoffish, and they don't. You can sense that they're just sort of hawking a widget. The passion isn't really there. I'm not going to name names because Lord knows I ain't starting that fire. But I know, like I know them when I see them, and they don't even interact with you very well. They're very standoffish and dismissive. It you can tell.
Yeah.
So I'm going to support the people that have a positive attitude and really care about what they're selling.
So you recently last month had a cigar featured in the Black Box Cigar Club on that, and have you gotten a lot of good feedback from from the smokers about the cigar?
I was surprised. Well, I shouldn't have been. The brother who runs it's actually a fraternity brother of mine. That's a good dude. Um, I was surprised at how many new people ended up getting it and then tagging me who I'd never interacted with. That was different. And I was like, okay, this is working out. I could do this again. And then that turned into new sales. So very happy with Black Box and Black Box Cigar. More people should subscribe. That guy, he did a great job with the product layout. Like I was actually, I don't know, I didn't have a low expectation, but he certainly exceeded my expectation. I knew it would be good. I didn't know it would be that good. So he did a phenomenal job packaging everything. I mean, that's beautiful. I don't even do that for my stuff. And I was like, oh, I should. I'm like, I should steal something out of his book.
I do. I've been introduced to a lot of new brands out there that I have not heard of, and I love it. As somebody, for like me, my whole content, everything I do is based on the small batch, the boutique brands. To be able to be introduced to brands that I haven't heard of and to be able to reach out and talk to these brands it's been phenomenal. And, I enjoy talking, and I enjoy talking to Dantley about what he's got going on in with the cigars and what he wants to bring in and what he's looking for, because then I can keep my eye open and, funnel him his way.
Well, and Dantley is probably where we're going as a boutique industry. If you really think about it, the doors to getting into 100 plus shops are closed to most of us. Unless you're a label that's technically a sub brand of a larger brand and that you're just not advertising it, and that larger brand is helping you with placement, which happens a lot. Unless you're that, and you really are a small brand and you really are doing it on your own, you're the subscription business and the online business is where it's going to be at.
It is. And if you like the cigar a lot, you can go to Black Box and buy it directly off the website if you want more of them.
There you go.
And then you're not trying to scour to find who sells it around. Right. You already know where you got it from.
I mean, look, nobody does it in my mind. And I'm going to divide online sales because there's the mega sites. I'm not going to run the names, and I got people who work for those companies, but I don't want to get them in trouble. So the mega sites that do all the big names and the discounts, and I'm not talking about that, but I will say the model that works the best, the people that I think do the best job right now that probably have the biggest reach is small batch. Nobody's perfect, but I will say that they do a really good job with the brands that they promote, and they have a good mailing list and a good, cell phone call list, the whole nine. And they push and they do a good job, and they pick some good blends. So they're doing it the right way. There probably needs to be
Andrew and David do a great job at small batch. They're definitely tapped into that world, and and they're one of the few places that you can, if you're looking for something different or unique, they're going to be one of the few places that have it. Luxury Cigars, another one.
That's another one. I'm not. By the way, I'm not connected to either one, so it's not like I can say that I'm biased, because I have no business with either one. Not that I wouldn't, but I just don't at this time. But I can see what they do and go, okay, I get it. And that we're actually going to have a little bit more of that. It probably needs to be 6 or 7 more of those collectives.
Yes,
to get the small batches
out there. Of them out there. Small batch, luxury, Black Box, OGT. Those are 4 off the top of my head that if I'm looking for something different, unique, small batch, boutique, one of those 4 is going to be the one that has it.
Now, the boutique blend that's really going to take off is the one that can accurately, I'm going to say paraphrase it, it's the wrong word, but I don't, it's a plane flying over. I don't mean imitate or copy, other than to say that the lane that this product moves in is the lane that will be the most successful for a boutique if they get it right. If you know anything about Illusione, and I'm sure you do, when Dion came out with the Rothschild, which at the time, I don't know what it is now, but back when it first came out, it was like 100 count in a wooden box that came in. And those things were rocking for like $5, and they were short smokes like this. But if they showed up in a shop, they were gone in a week. I mean, everybody wanted that smoke. And for the boutiques, if we're able to create the sub $10 cigar that's really, really good, that means sub $10 retail in a shop, sub $10. So you're talking sub $10 Keystone, which means you're probably getting it to the shop at $2.50 to $3 wholesale. If you can deliver, because you can do it, the price isn't the problem, it's quality for price. So if you can deliver that experience like that, I mean, that was a gem he came out with, but it's rare that anybody pulls that off. Boutiques, if we can pull off the $7, $8, $9 smoke, that's really good. That's what's going to help us take off in shops and online. The industry, if you've noticed, I'm sure you have, is creeping up and up and up. I mean, the median price is now $13.50, $14 for a cigar. 5 years ago, it would have been, 11 or 12. And what's happening is that the larger guys are driving the price up because they realize, okay, all this stuff is sitting on the shelves. There's a million facings. And yeah, we move the product, but it doesn't move very fast. And, it sits forever and the shop guys are mad at us. And, so what do? Okay, well, it used to be, once a year you get the sharks and once a year you get the monsters. Now, every company has their own version of that. And they're doing it every quarter. And it's, a 50,000 box run. And, each cigar is $35 a piece and they sell out in a week because you never know when you're going to see them again. And they make much more money because it's the same price for them to make as the shit that's on the shelves. but okay. But they're marketing geniuses. So they figured out if we do these small batch runs, and how many limited editions can you have if they keep coming?
Yeah.
How limited are they? But that's the industry. The industry is going that way. Because they can't be boutiques, but what they can do is jazz up the packaging and the price and then shrink availability of whatever they're coming out with.
But but that's their way of coming out after the boutique and the small batch brand is we're just going to release, like you said, the limited edition sticks, and we're going to do a quarterly stick. So now, we've trapped the retailer in because, well, they're going to buy it because it's coming from us. And as a consumer, you see, this is a limited edition. This is only available once a year until the next quarter when they put out the next one. But you're like, well, okay, well, I'll drop $20 on this. I mean, who knows when I'll see it again next year or a similar variation next quarter.
I was going to say 4 weeks later, 5 weeks later.
Yeah.
What? That's where we're going. I don't mind that if it's good. My issue with that cynical approach is when it's trash, and it's more often than not. I'm not talking about the monsters. The monsters are great. I'm not talking about the sharks. Sharks are great. I'm talking because those have been going for a while. I get why they were what they were. What I'm talking about is now that people have latched onto that model, they're just throwing shit out now. And as long as they can come up with a cool name, and they'll spend a little bit of money on the packaging because they're only making 50,000 boxes. So they'll spend a little bit of money on the packaging, but still averages out, to, $5 a stick in that box. But once again, they're selling them for $30 a piece, 35, some of them 40. And that's if the shop owner's being nice about it, if they want to go crazy. And I've seen it. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that I could walk into certain shops and you would see opuses for 80. Just one. So, the business is going to a higher price point, and the boutiques are going to have to slide into the lower range and come up with innovative products because and I know we're coming up on an hour here, so I want to make sure I hit this point. Cigars are supposed to be egalitarian. It's supposed to be the one luxury product every man can afford.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be that if you were to sit in a lounge and you were a bus driver and you sat next to a stockbroker, you could both, if you wanted, go get the $20 cigar and enjoy it, or the $10 cigar and enjoy it. But for that moment in time, the playing field is level. And that's going to go away if these prices keep creeping up. And I get that there are taxes involved. Look, I pay a 20% cigar tax in Virginia on my product. I get it. But we're getting extreme. If you're like I said, if your median price is getting up towards $15, you're starting to hurt people's pockets bad.
Yeah, and I agree. So let me ask you another question. Would you consider yourself more a regional brand to that DMV area, that central East Coast area?
No.
Okay.
Not because I don't want to be. I want to conquer the region. It's not disrespectful to the region at all. Because I haven't gone after shops as heavy as I wanted to. I mean, my sales, because I've been mostly online since the beginning of the pandemic, I sell just as much to LA as I do to Jersey.
Okay. Well,
So,
I mean, that answers, that was kind of answer the question.
Now, if you're talking about brick and mortar, yes, the footprint would be draw a circle around the DMV and conquer that first. So I'm not disrespecting the area, and I do have a lot of great, even online customers here. But it's at Atlanta. I sell a bunch in Atlanta. I sell a bunch in Dallas. It's everywhere.
Wow, that's I only asked that question just because, based upon being a small company located in a certain region, where some companies go, yeah, we're kind of regional, but since you've mastered that online sale, you've kind of expanded out to being a national brand.
Yeah, it's national in the sense that I don't want to inflate what it is or isn't. It's national in the sense that my customer base is spread out equally all over the place. I'm not saying I have a mass. I don't have 20,000 customers. Let's not get carried away here. But I sell out every time, and I sell out because of how diverse and spread out the customer base is.
Do you make trips to the factory who manufactures your sticks often, or a couple times a year?
Okay. No. That not that it's not going to happen. Actually, it will happen next year. There's going to be a Nicaragua trip for sure. I haven't needed to at this point. What I typically do is I'll sit down with whoever I'm dealing with, whether that's Cortez or Bella or whoever, and I'll talk with them. We'll go over some stuff. We'll look at different blends. I'll say, no, I want this kind of thing. No, I don't like this. Or can you do it like that? Or what can we do for 9 months from now? How's it going to look? That's the kind of conversations I don't necessarily need to be on the shop floor. I don't pass myself off as some master cigar roller. I'm not. And I'm not Mr. Let me go take a picture holding the leaf in the field. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not going to sit there and hold the post-cured leaf while puffing on a cigar in the factory. It's not me. I'm not knocking the people who do it. It's just not me.
Okay.
So
do you have the bug to want to get into the factory and try your hand at blending?
A little bit, but once again, for me, it's more like I'd rather let the people who are the best at that sit down with me and walk me through some stuff, and let's plan ahead for the next year and see what's going to be good 8-9 months from now. What can we make that we know is going to get where we want it to go?
Okay.
Like I don't mind collaborating on that level, and I don't. That's why I don't pass myself off as a master blender, blah blah blah. It's not. You know what I am? I'm a carnival barker who knows a little bit about cigars, and I'm okay with being that guy.
No, but I think the way that you present and market yourself is good, because you're drawing attention to the brand, and people want to check you out because you can get up on that soapbox and come check out the bearded lady.
Yeah. No, well, but also it's a great show. Like, I'm not going to sell you a bag of beans, and thank you, Monique, love you. I'm not gonna sell you a bag of beans. And once again, I can stand by, and I got friends who are harsh critics. They're going to tell me if it's bad. So that's why I go through my friends, sort of filter through them first. because you can get blind. You can believe in your own mythology too much. So they'll tell you, hey, man, this is hitting them, man. I don't know. And that helps.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Like I do work with a few brands out there, and I get the test blends in, I give them my notes, but then I'm also brutally honest. I'm like, I don't know what you changed in this. It's trash now.
Yeah.
What was wrong with the last blend on this? Because that blend was fire.
I don't think I'm not going to do that. What I will say is this: 99% of the bad taste that I've ever had is I've detected that it's just not old enough yet. There's not like most of the once you get past $12, it's not that most of the blends aren't good. Most of the blends are good. They just haven't sat long. That's really what most of this is.
I get it, and I see more problems with the bigger brands because they're in such a hurry to mass produce and get more out there that I don't think that there's that the quality has deteriorated over the last few years.
Right.
Whereas a small brand like yourself and other small brands, you're willing to wait to get it right. It's like, look, this isn't ready yet, man. This needs another 6 months.
If I wanted to be cynical, especially because I've built up a good reputation, I could go to so and so and say, "Look, I've got 20 grand. I want 10,000 sticks at $2 a piece. I don't care what you got. Just give me that, and I'll come up with a dope ass band and nice box. And because I've done this, now people are gonna and I would make a killing once. Because once they smoke, what the fuck is this? What is this? They're gonna know. They're going at some point. They're gonna that's trash, and they're not gonna come back.
So, is there a tobacco you want to work with that you haven't had the opportunity to yet?
Let's see. No, I've done some Ecuadorian. I've done Honduran. I don't think I've done any Costa Rican. Who was that used a lot of Costa Rican tobacco? It was the Indian guy. He had a really good cigar back in the day. It's gonna bug the hell out of me. It's a cool brand.
Costa Rican.
But he did a lot of Costa Rican tobacco. It was actually really good cigars. It's like really good. It's one of those names gonna come to me after this call ends. But I'm curious about that. But I've had 11 different releases now, so I've had a little bit of everything at this point. So whether it was out of Esteli or Jalapa, whether it was, Criollo 98, whether it was Habana 2000, whether it was 99, whether it was Honduran or Ecuadorian or broadleaf, whatever. I haven't done anything Sumatran yet. I think that would be interesting. I haven't done that yet.
Okay. Sumatran's one of those hit or miss on a lot of people's palates. They either love it or they hate it.
Well, the two most controversial are Sumatran and Cameroon. I mean, Cameroon tends to be delicate and cracks a lot. It's a pain in the ass. But I love Cameroon leaf.
I do too. I love Cameroon leaf. But that's one reason why they to get that hardier Cameroon leaf, they're now growing in Honduras.
Right. Well, look, you can grow it anywhere. The seed is a seed.
Well, I get it, but it's a hardier leaf. But it, for me, I can taste the difference in the leaf.
Yeah, no, you look, it's wine, right? It's wine. Tobacco is wine. You can take the seed, but the soil it's in, the microclimate it's in, how it's cultivated, how it's aged, or in this case cured, how it's blended, everything, the priming, whatever, rolled, stored, the whole nine. You could take the same two seeds and come up with completely different flavors. That's just like wine.
So is there somebody out there you want to work with?
Dion Giolito always interests me because I like the Epernay. That's a great cigar.
He's one of those savants though. With
I know 1/2 of 1% of what that man knows.
Yeah, nobody will ever There's a video of him out there where they just give him tobacco and he he breaks and he can tell you every tobacco used in it, the year that tobacco was, the year that tobacco came from, break it down to the region and the crop. And I'm just
Right.
like, how does this guy has nothing better to do than to go to every tobacco region and get every tobacco grown from that crop
Right.
and smoke it?
No, he's a savant. Although I will say this, the two names that people should know that aren't known are Cortez and Aroma de Nicaragua. Those two especially, because they have their own factories and they make great products on their own. And if you don't know those names, you should go to one of the Cortez shops in Jersey or in Maryland, or check out Aroma de Nicaragua's website. Email them, tell them I said to go, because they don't really sell from the website, but they'll work with you. Those guys are geniuses. And the Bello family out of Miami, if you haven't had any of Bello's products, do. I work with them a lot too, and they're amazing. So there's just a lot of talent out there that doesn't get blown up.
No, and it should.
There's a lot of talent out there that doesn't get blown up, and people are missing out, not for their lack of making a great product, but just for lack of access to a wider market.
No, I agree. I agree. You know, more they need a lot of people need a lot more love than what they're getting out there. And, you know, I'm just one person, so I can't, you know, who knows how far my word goes. I can tell everybody that this is a great stick and they should go buy it.
Right. Well, that goes back to, well, you know, is there a festival that could properly promote smaller brands? Sorry, my mother-in-law's waving. The smaller brands well, and help them move product. I'm sure there's one or two people who could really pull it off. Cigar Mike's probably one of them. There's a bunch of others. And he's mad at me because I can't get down to his thing. Unfortunately, I apologize.
Yeah, I know. He yelled at me too because I told him I'm not gonna. I just can't swing getting down to it, and he.
Well, no, I'm gonna be in big trouble. But you know, but he's the kind of guy that could pull it off. There's other people too, but it's going to take that. And once again, the small batches of the world, and all the similar sites that are doing what they do. If we can get them to help us hunt and peck more for some of these brands, I think they could really bring some. I mean, like I said, I'm ready to roll. I know Lovely's ready to roll. I know Definition, Family by Loyalty. Like, we need to get onto some of these lists because we've got some great stuff. Aroma de Nicaragua, Cortez, it's great stuff out there. And people need to smoke it because they don't know what they're missing. And when they find out, they go, how come I didn't know about it? Every time they say, well, how come I didn't know? Well, your shop ain't going to carry us.
Shop don't care. You don't follow me. If you follow me, I tell you which small brands you need to be smoking it on. So follow me because I'm in the know, you know. But it made me happy to see this, that your brand was in there.
Yeah.
And Family by Loyalty was in there.
Yeah. Well, we're in it together. Because
yes.
I only saw it like from a distance on my screen. Because I don't have it at my house. So
yeah.
Oh, we're together in that. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's great. Alan and Ernie, what up?
Yeah.
Those guys are talented. You know, those are guys. Those are my guys. Those are my guys.
They're awesome. But it made me happy to see that when I opened that box. And I was like,
yeah, that's exciting.
I was like, okay. So Araya's in here. Oh my god. And there's Alan and Ernie right there.
Yeah.
I go, it made me happy because you know, I'm like, you know, I like seeing brands that I like getting the love that they deserve, especially in a subscription box, because now they're being opened up to a whole new level of people.
Right. You know, in your show, by the way, thank you for having me on. It's really kind of you to even give me the opportunity, especially basically, I was on the other one, so it's almost two back to back. What I would say is, the more stuff that you can do that's fun, and even if you're just watching a game, even though you can't put it on your screen, or you're hanging out with friends, you're doing these kind of shows like you do, even if you're mentioning brands in passing that don't get a lot of love, people who watch you are going to be curious about what you're smoking and what you're doing. So if you keep doing this over and over, you're just giving us more exposure. So it's greatly appreciated. Because you certainly don't have to do it.
Ah,
So
I do it because I have a love and passion for the leaf and the hard work that goes into what you guys do. And when I decided to take the media route in 2019, I said I don't want to do what everybody else does. I want to focus on the brands that nobody hears about or doesn't go to that side of the humidor to find, because there's gems over there that people need to that people should be trying to find and smoke. And I want to introduce people to these brands.
Yep.
Because for most of the 20 plus years I've smoked, I've been almost boutique strictly. So
that was harder to do when you got started, because the game hadn't been
it hadn't been set in stone the way it is now. But I went through the boutique revolution, the first one in 2007. I went through the one in 2012.
Yeah.
And now and this one in 2020 that we just had. But this one is the longest sustaining one out of the three in the last 20 years.
Well, that's because now the social media community of smokers is so big that they share amongst each other what they're smoking, and they're really the main advertising. It's not us, as much as we like to think that we promote and do this. It's actually the smokers themselves who do the best job of letting people know what they're really into, and they always want to try new stuff. And this wave of having the hottest thing on social media cigar wise, I give Caldwell a lot of credit for doing that, and you got to give Saka his credit for doing it, where people have taken their brands and been able to catch fire just through social media. Not that they don't work hard in other ways, but they were able to get people to show off what they were getting. That wasn't something that existed when I first started smoking. You would, if you went into a shop, you might hear about something, but that was rare.
It was. Look, I used to be on the bottle message board back in the early 2000s. That's how I learned about a lot of the stuff, that new stuff and different stuff that was out there. Was that I'd go onto that message board and people would be talking about, oh, this brand or that brand. I'm like, okay, that's something I need to check out. Well, that's how long I've been smoking for. Was back when that was an active message board.
The first time I heard anybody really push smaller brands on social media to an audience that could be considered global. This podcast no longer exists. I mean, it's been over for a long time, but it's probably one of the best podcasts for cigars I'd ever seen. It was one called Dog Watch, and I think one guy was based out of Colorado, and the other guy was based out of Florida somewhere. As two guys, and they'd have other people join in, but they were pushing blends and brands I had never heard of. I'll put it this way: they were talking about Plasencia in 07. Like, Plasencia is the shit now, and everybody's onto it now. But they were talking about it before you could find it in a store.
Before, when really all they were just growers of the tobacco.
Right.
They didn't really put out a whole lot of stuff.
Right. They were. Dog Watch was, if you could find old episodes somewhere on Apple Podcasts, or listen to because it's an amazing, a lot of educational information about cigars. Those guys were really, 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 really good. But that was the first, and now there's a bunch of people who do it really well, yourself included. I've seen a lot of guys who do a great job of this, and it's integral to getting a smaller brands out. But yeah, we got to get buy-in from all these groups on Facebook and IG. These guys, if they're posting our stuff, the more they post it, the better, because people then want to find out what you're smoking. I tend to post infrequently, not because I don't want to post more, but because IG has certain rules about what you can say when you're posting, and I've been kicked off TikTok more times than I can count for posting something. But when I'm in like a Facebook group, I tend not to overdo it, because you don't want to abuse the rules of the group. what you're hoping for is that people will get curious and ask you, and then you can send them something and they'll post it and talk about it. But you know how it is with some of these Facebook groups. You can't really, buy my shit. Like, it's got to be careful with that.
I know. Look, I get a lot of people want me to be a part of their group, and I'm like, I really don't want to be a part of your group unless I can, look, I want to promote me and I want to promote brands on it. And if I can't do that, it's not something I'm interested in because I want more people to know about what I'm smoking.
Right.
Yeah, so, I think,
I try to be respectful of the group. So.
It is,
but it's hard to resist a group with 5,000 people in it. You're like trying to get.
Yeah, I know, because it's like, okay, I got a bigger audience. All right, come on up, y'all. Let's go. Are you working on getting into more monthly clubs?
Think about starting my own.
Okay.
That the issue there is inventory, right? So, do you carry 10 different blends and rotate a selection in between those, or do you create several gift packs or whatever? I remember I put the packs together with the watches on holidays and stuff like that for the watches I designed. Hold on one second. Okay, they're jumping over fire. So I know that makes no sense to everybody here, but it's a tradition in the Ethiopian Transit. New Year, they literally light a fire and they jump over this bad boy, and they're lighting a fire in my living room right now, and I'm a bit nervous. So I'm like, that would sound so crazy to anybody watching this. I'm sorry, but I'm like, they're like, hey, are you gonna come jump? I'm like, I'm on a call. But what was I gonna say? But see, and it made me lose my train of thought just that fast. What was I talking about? They're lighting a fire.
So you were talking about wanting how to set up maybe your own monthly subscription.
Yeah, I'd have to have enough inventory so that you could say, okay, look, just Araia, you know what? Every other month, send me X. I'll pay a fee, because look, the numbers, if you're from a business perspective, to have 1,000 people paying you $30 every quarter, if you're a small business, is a big deal, right? That's not a bad business model for a small blip. You know what I'm saying? Especially because it's online, so the margin is ridiculous.
Well,
so if you're being a cynical business person, you'd want to do that.
Yeah. Well, I had a manufacturer on. He also has his own. He also has his own factory, as well, and he wants to start the concept of a monthly subscription box, but you get to basically create your own blends that they would make and send to you. Ooh, and I thought that was different and unique. But I'm like, but if you have 100 people, you're going to be doing 100 different blends. Yeah.
It's. You'd better have the infrastructure in place to do that. My wife do you not know? Do you see that I'm on here? Do you see? Okay, listen, you're going to have to tap dance for about 90 seconds, okay?
I can handle it.
Listen, I have a wife to deal with. Give me 90 seconds, okay?
All right.
Soft shoe it.
Araia's great, man. I love talking to this guy. I'll pop him back up on the screen as soon as he gets done. Our back. He's fantastic on that. Well, since we're waiting on him, shameless plug. Let's see. Next Monday night, I have Michael with Mary Brands on. We're going to talk about his cannabis and THC infused cigar line. And I think I'm gonna have a special guest co-host with me because I don't know anything about the cannabis side. So I think my ex-girlfriend's going to be joining me because I need a marijuana expert on. And then next Tuesday we got Panur Cigars on Raw Cigar Reviews on my IG Live. And that goes down same time, 7 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern. And Anthony from the One-to-One Mini Podcast Project is going to be my guest co-host, so he'll be coming back for round 2. So That's what couple things got going on the next for next week, and we'll bring Araia back on.
Sorry, I literally just jumped over a small fire in my house.
All right. Welcome back. I took
Yeah.
I took advantage to shamelessly plug some stuff I have coming up.
No, and you should. I apologize. I had a wife and a mother-in-law staring at me, and let me tell you, I'd rather you be upset.
Oh, I'm definitely not upset.
Just gonna let you know, I deal with this heat before I'm gonna deal with that heat in there. Okay.
I mean, you got the people in the chat laughing. So
yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying, it's like, hey, because just I could sell 1 million cigars. That's still worse heat. I'm sorry. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus
So
Christ.
okay. So if you get the opportunity to do your own monthly club out there, marketing on that, because there's so many of them out there, other than saying you're marketing to people who want something different, who want a boutique brand, who want something different from my factory out there. How do you market that to just the general consumers?
Well, I don't think you do. I think, once again, as a small company, be innovative, right? Don't try to approach it like Fuente would approach it. They're a big company. They got everything in the world. I know. I see you rocking it. By the way, I have to get you you don't have a fire lance?
No, I use a roofing nail.
Yeah, I'm going to have to send you. You didn't get a fire lance from me when we were out there?
No.
We're gonna fix that.
You showed it to me, but you didn't give me
that sounds like me.
You showed it to me, and then you showed it to me, and then I go, try these out, see what you think.
Yeah, I'm paying the butt. I will get you one. I will get you one. So my approach to this is to make it, I guess the analogy would be, and it's not really a good one, would be Coors. If you remember when we were kids, how old are you?
40.
Okay, so you're in the ball game. When we were very young, you were very young. Like, Coors was like something you had to like drive out west to get. Yingling used to be that way. I mean, I'm not going to tell you whether I like either of those beers, but I like the idea that they were sort of like, oh, you had to go into a certain region to pick it up, right? Right. Okay. So my approach has always been like, find 100 customers who are going to love the shit out of it, right? And be loyal, just be loyal buyers. And that 100 they're each going to tell 2 or 3 people, and you're going to convert 20% of that audience. So now you've got a couple of 100 people who are going to be regular customers. So remember, your only goal, you can have a small goal and start there, because once you have that and it catches fire, you actually have a new problem, which is you can't meet demand. Like, don't try to say, I need to be in 1,000 stores and I got to be this. Don't try that.
Like, no, but be overselling yourself in this industry isn't a bad thing, like in other industries.
No, it's not a bad thing.
And I just want to put it out there for the people who are watching with the stick I just smoked that I went to almost nothing with. It is drool bucket worthy.
So, what the hell is the drool bucket? What are we doing here?
Yeah, it means the cigar was so good it was making me drool. Okay, and I needed something to catch all the drool in.
Are we gonna have to make it? I'd make you like a drool bucket blend, but I don't think that's gonna look right on a.
That's right. If you can make me drool, it's a box worthy stick.
Okay, we might have to. I got to figure out how we're gonna make the drool bucket blend work.
Box worthy stick right there.
You know what's funny about that? Thank you. You know what's funny about that? Like, that name is just crazy enough for the idea I was talking about earlier, where he's like, if you can come up with a good $7 retail stick, and it's like called drool bucket, that's so crazy. It just might work. So hold on to that name, because figure that out.
It is trademarked.
There you go. Because you're gonna, man, there's something there. But because that's just crazy enough to work.
All right.
But my thing is, if I convert 100 people to do a subscription at $30 a month, that's a certain amount of money that's coming in right now. As that grows, that's what scales. That's why subscription services. That's why subscription services are so popular. So Adobe and all that crap, they're just charging your fucking card. You're not even getting anything. You're not even using the product. At least with cigars,
You're using
if
the
I'm
product.
charging you, you're gonna use the product, right?
Yes.
So at least you can feel like your conscience is clear that way. But what you're able to do then is to say, okay, because you've been subscribing for a year, here's a special release you didn't pay for. Here's some swag. Here's our new version of the Fire Lance. Here's our new, such and such traveling case. Whatever you do now becomes value added because you've got loyal customers, and that becomes a club. And now it's like I don't know who did Cigar Porn and Fat Ash, but I will give both of those companies credit. However their business model works, everybody wears their shit. I have seen that from Costa, both brands, Cigar Porn and Fat Ash. They do a great job. Smoke well, drink better. All three of those do a great job of getting their product out, and people want it. They see it. Oh, and I gotta get one. I gotta get one. I gotta get one. We have to do that as small blends.
It is, but they tapped in. Cigar Porn tapped into phrasing that we used to back in that mid 2000s when we were smoking. So you get something banging and good, and it's like, dang, dude, this is cigar porn, and they tapped into that, and it fits because you got it. Smoke well, drink better. Again, it's a phrase and a saying that fits in with the community out there. So there's some smart and innovative people out there that have come up with products. How many times have you said, man, look at that's a fat ash when you're smoking a big stick?
Right. In fact, I need to do a better because we have a tagline that I don't really use a lot that I really should, but I haven't been able to figure out how to use, because we always say, it's only a bad habit if you're bad at it. There you go. So that's me reaching into my copywriting bag from a million years ago. But
I like but it sounds good.
It has a certain flow to it, but I haven't even put that on a shirt yet. And I know I should. But and I probably will at some point. But yeah, you have to, once again, for our business, once you have a loyal core, especially if you can tap into the cigar nerd groups, one or two guys in there, it'll spread like wildfire. Because once they've got it and they know it's good, and you got to have some cool packaging, because trust me, that helps. Do you remember the first time Yellow Cake came out?
Yes.
People lost their. They didn't even smoke. They hadn't smoked it. It could have tasted like bark. It wouldn't have mattered because it was such cool packaging. You had to have it, and they were good cigars. I'm not saying they weren't. I'm saying the marketing was so good, it transcended whether or not you were going to smoke it. You had to get. No one. It wasn't that no one had ever wrapped cigars in paper before, but no one had ever presented it that way.
Yeah.
Not like that. So you have to do stuff like that with your loyal base, and that's how you spread, and that's how you become. Like I said, a Yingling, a Coors, Russian River Valley, all that kind of stuff. That's how you become that in the cigar world.
A good tagline always goes a long way, and if it's only Fuente is Fuente, it's something that rings with people. But I think that there's definitely, a good tagline, especially for a small brand, can carry a brand a long way.
Listen, you have to let the product start with the product. Product has to be great, because if you're a great marketer, you can get people to buy something once. I have seen brands with great concepts and decent marketing and a good push and actually good connections get on a lot of shelves, and then I see them sit. Because like I said, you can fool everybody once. So I've seen these blends, and so they had all the marketing correct, but you start with the cigar, because once again, you're going to get found out. So
it is, but I think as as you moved into the pandemic, most of those brands that came out that were doing that were one and dones. And because they got found out, they got exposed for being frauds out there. But the brands that are still out there that started in that pandemic era that are there are thriving.
Yeah. We'll grow as much as I can buy, I can sell. So it just depends on how much I can afford to buy. So selling is not the problem.
No, I don't think selling's the problem on that.
It's growth. It's growth. It's growth for me. And so as we try to figure out how to do it the right way, and not sacrifice how we've got the quality we've got, that's my other concern. So as long as I can do that, and look, folks, it's arsonfire.com. Buy my shit. It's the best. Okay. Let's I got the best work in the city. Let's just make it RSON Cigars, arsonfire.com. Make it happen. Promo code number 5 smokes. Get some money off. Come holler at me. Okay, I got that out the way. So, shameless plug. But I start with quality because once again, I got to stand behind when you light it up. Because I talk a lot of shit, so it better be good.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I listened to you over the course of 4 days in Vegas talk a lot of shit, but that cigar definitely stood. You backed your shit up with that cigar. That cigar was phenomenal. I'm still kind of drooling.
Yeah. No, listen, I can't. I'm very happy with what we've done so far, and you've missed some releases. There are customers of mine who have saved like one out of every pack they've ever had. They have stuff I don't have. Like you never had a Code Red. That was the first cigar to have a QR code as the logo on the band. So you could shop from the logo on the cigar. It was my only Corona I've done. I love that cigar. Code Red is amazing. If I can ever release that again, I will. But I had the Code Red. The 1906, which was for the Alphas, was a phenomenal cigar. I made a powerhouse called the Kingfish. There's a lot of stuff you haven't had that I can't even get my hands on anymore because they were limited runs. And it's I got to figure out how to bring some of these back because you would be support. So Monique is now trying to put her 2 cents in because she wants the Code Red to come back out. I know, Monique, stop. I know. Okay, anyway, I'm hoping to re-release because you got to try it. Some of this stuff, it'll scare you what I was able to put out. The Molotov cocktail this year. That's actually if I could go back in time and bring that forward, that's actually the blend I need to come back out with. The Molotov cocktail was really the first one that we did where people hit the brakes and we're like, okay, what are you doing here? Something's different. And I don't even like Toros, but it was a Toro that worked. I'm not a Toro guy. I don't want to get into the ring gauge conversation because I know it's been beat to all hell, but I'm not a Toro guy. If I could make a Lonsdale that I thought would move, I would make it tomorrow because I like that kind of shit. But the average smoker really doesn't. They all want, hand cannons. So
let me ask you a question. So what's your thought of some of these smaller brands out there that do limited single run releases?
I love it. I mean, look, sometimes it's your option. Sometimes it's what makes business sense. You want to be in the market, but you can't do this, do that. It's okay. I did it. So I'm okay. Look, it's sad when it runs out. But at least you know that company makes a great blend, so you'll be excited for the next one. I mean, you sort of treat it like the monsters, right? Like, okay, last year was the Drac, then it was the Wolfman, then it was the Mum, treat it like that. I mean, just treat it as discovery. But if that's the lane they could be in, God bless them, and I'm in it. So how can I talk about it like it's bad?
I don't think it's bad because there are a couple brands out there that, look, when they've come out with stuff, they've crashed websites because it's either been a store exclusive, only available at that store, or only available on their website, and people are jacked about wanting to get it because everything they've put out is fire. So it's like, well, let's go. You
I
know,
mean, look, but you don't listen. You don't need to do limited to do cool stuff. I mean, there are two companies, or at least two brands, I'll say, that I like what they've been doing. Both of whom make blends that are affordable, actually. Warped, who makes all the ring gauges I like, and I like that guy. That guy's cool, but I like what he's doing. I like where he's going. And then who's it? Rojas that makes the street taco.
Rojas, yeah,
Jesus Christ.
Rojas is
The
another
street,
one of those savants.
what the hell? I had the street taco, I had the carnitas, and I was like, okay, I have to hate on this now because I like it. I was pissed.
Yeah.
Even then, you smoke something, I go, that was dope. I wish I could have done that. Now that's clever. What they did was clever. The marketing was clever. The cigar was clever. The pricing was right. That lets me know that the really, really, really big companies could do it if they wanted to, because they did it. And I was like, you know, I'm not going to name the people that I think have mastered marketing, but I don't like their products. I'm not going to bash anybody by name, but the people that I know I like, that like I said, Rojas did the street taco and Warped. My God, and of course, I mean, look, Illusion is not a small company by any means, but they mastered the Illusion. Mastered, especially with the Epernay, a lighter cigar, which is hard to do. It's easy to do all the other shit. The lighter shit is really difficult to do, and they mastered it. So I always give them props. I just had, I mean, I'm a Matt Booth guy anyway, but the new Room 101 that's out with the little spaceman on it.
Johnny Tobacconauts.
Jesus, listen, they're good, fine, but that Perfecto with a cup of coffee, deadly. It tastes like what Xenos used to taste. Remember the Platinums? Remember the old Xeno Platinums?
Yeah, the old Xeno Platinums in the tubos.
How they're still Xeno priced, but how they used to taste, he nailed it. He nailed it. Oh my God, what a phenomenal morning smoke. Jesus
I'm a big fan.
Christ.
You know, I'm a big fan of most everything Booth does. You know,
yeah, he came back out with a cigar, but I don't know if the blend is the same. Did you ever have the it's got to be 10 years ago now. The was it the Namakubi? It was like a light blue box with a gray logo on it. The Daruma. The Daruma.
Yeah, the original Daruma. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, the original Daruma is what put him on the map.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't like that cigar because the ring gauge is out of control. It's way too big. But it was perfect. It was a perfect, and it didn't taste like anything else. What an amazing cigar. You know, that's the other thing. Is like the reason you do this, the reason I do this, the reason anyone does this is you're hoping that you create something and somebody smokes and goes, oh my God. That's what, because you're literally from your mind manifesting something that becomes physical, that then somebody turns into a transformative experience for themselves. That is, I mean, you're talking about imposing your will on another person in many ways. It's like, I want to make you feel great, relaxed. I want you to be blown away by these flavors. And then it happens. It's the best feeling in the world.
I remember getting turned on to Boothy stuff in like 2011. It was mostly underground stuff before it came out. And before he got, became big and blew up. And man, I was blown away because I'd never seen anybody take Honduran tobacco like he did and manifest it into something so delicious.
Right. No, he nailed it. I forget, was it Araia? Whoever was doing the one shot, one kill back in the day. That was another cool one.
I've seen that one.
Yes. Nice guy. That was a phenomenal smoke. I remember the old Tatuaje 10. I used to smoke the hell out of those things. Still love the Tatuaje Black. I mean, like I'm a peak guy anyway, but uh, the Tatuaje Black might be the most well balanced cigar for the money out there because it's still sold at a reasonable price. You can still pick one of those up for like $11. I mean, there are cigars out there right now that I chase that I look and go, can I compete with that? Like another one is Call to Arms by Stolen Throne.
Another good stick.
I smoked that and went, okay, yeah, I got to step up even more and get better.
But you know what? You're a fan of Noel Rojas, and Rojas makes Call to Arms, so it would be it explain. You start looking at some of these brands, and then you start seeing who's manufacturing the cigar, and then you're just like, it makes sense why I like that.
Right. There you go.
Any brand that Rojas touches, I tend to really like the cigar. I'm a big Rojas fan.
No, look, I'm right there with you. There was somebody else. Oh, we talked about Caldwell earlier. I remember. I mean, I'll forever be a fan of The King is Dead because I just think it's perfect, balanced, medium to full cigar, perfectly executed, great packaging, great branding. But I love that joint. King is Dead is one of my favorites. Once again, I'm a fan of people that create a great product. If you do something cool, I like it. I prefer if you put that focus across your entire offering, but I know that can be difficult. But I'm a fan of people that I see doing innovative things. I mean, I give people props when they do something that I really, really like. I'm like, oh shit, that's fire.
Yeah, and I think I've seen more of that over the last 3 years than I've seen in the prior 20 years that I've been smoking. Mm-hmm. Is more innovation, and it's coming from the smaller brands. They definitely take that imagination and have expanded it into great marketing, into great cigars and consistency.
Well, you're going to see there's consolidation coming. You're going to see, not that it's going to happen to me, but you're going to see smaller guys that do well, that build a loyal customer base, that have like a decent mailing list, that can reach people and sell product right away. You're going to see them get acquired, sort of become a subsidiary. The branding will stay the same, and they will become much like Kraft owned whatever, and Coca-Cola owns however many. You're going to start to see more of this for two reasons. One, it's hard to keep a small company going and growing, and the bigger companies don't want to pay for the R&D. So if they can go, okay, well, these guys have already developed a great product and have a following, it's cheaper for us to bring them on in. That you're going to see more of this. It's going to happen.
Well, I do think it's coming, especially since you've seen General Cigars purchase Room 101 and Alec and Bradley.
I should have made that face. I'm sorry.
I think you're going to see more of that out there because they're buying the names, but they're not just mass producing for the name. Booth is still creatively in control of everything that comes out of the factory, what he makes.
Right. Well, there's a separate thing there, which is typically when a company of that size is purchasing on that level, because Matt Booth is big and Alec Bradley was big, they're also buying shelf space at that point, right? So that's a slightly different game beyond where I'm at. I'm not there. I mean, Booth is an innovator. Let's not get that twisted. But he's got shelf space. He's got facings. And so, if you're going to pay $70 million for Alec Bradley, there's a reason.
I talked to Bradley Rubin right after the sale was announced, and he was bummed out about it. Because he thought he would take over that company that his dad built. He had been training and working in the factory and doing everything from the time he was a little kid. Mm-hmm. And he was bummed, but he said, my dad had a number in his head and he wasn't going to settle for less. They had to meet that number if he was going to sell. And they met that number that he had. And he was bummed because he didn't know what was going to happen, whether he was going to stay on, whether him and his brother's brand were going to stay on. and be part of what was involved, part of the Alec Bradley sale, what was going to happen. And he was bummed out. And I understand, I kind of get it. This is something that he expected he was going to take over, but it looks like he's still part of the company because he's still out there at the booths. He's still out at the festivals representing Alec Bradley and Alec and Bradley cigars. So,
well, every good business has an exit strategy. Every good business has an exit. I mean, if something, not that it would ever happen to me, but if it did, if they said, hey, look, here's the number, and it made sense, you have to start doing the math in your head. And what else do you want to do creatively? What else do you want to do in cigars? What else, what else is there for you to do? Do you say no and keep going? I mean, but you need to have that strategy. So I understand why they did what they did, because the number was ridiculous. I mean, why wouldn't you do it? But the larger company is, and I thought it was Scandinavian about them.
Yeah, Scandinavian / General Cigars.
Yeah. So they bought Facings. I mean, Alec Bradley has successfully positioned itself everywhere. So, and they were able to move enough product. I'm gonna leave my opinions aside on the blends, but I cannot say a damn thing against their business model. It's fucking brilliant, and they pulled it off. So congrats to them. Because blending in my flavor, whatever my palate is subjective. So I have to leave that alone. But you cannot fault the business. Brilliant execution.
Well, I'm sure, and I'm sure that if you reach that point where you got big enough and SGT came knocking on your door, you'd listen.
Yeah, I'd be on the next show screaming. I'd be on your very next. I'd be talking mad shit and drunk off my. Yeah. Why is he streaming from a yacht?
Yeah. But I get it. I would. I get it. But at the end of the day, SGT is paying for a name that is already established, and it's only putting them into more shops that they have those exclusive deals with.
Yes.
So it's there.
For me, like I said, this business is, for me, this is the first time in my life, and I've done a lot of work in production and being a creative in my life. This is the first time where I've had almost complete control creatively over what I'm doing. And the finished product is the most reflective of whatever was in my head, what I wanted. And to see the positive result of how folks respond to it is, God, it's amazing.
You put out a good product. I mean, the cigar, you talked your shit and you backed it up. That cigar was fantastic.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, there's gonna be a lot of shit talking. Sorry, this is who I am. There's nothing I can do about it. The people that know me are rolling their eyes right now. It's okay.
I don't have a problem with, look, a lot of brands have talked their shit and the cigars didn't live up to what they talked about. But that stick was phenomenal. I mean,
Thank you.
My takeaway from that cigar was that there's subtle complexities to it, but it's not a complex cigar. There are certain features of that cigar that are going to hit, I think, everybody's palate. Certain aspects are going to hit everybody's palate the same, and there's going to be certain aspects that are going to hit other people's palate differently in a good way.
Well, and I'm not Mr. Hints of cocoa and a subtle taste of roasted goat's balls. I'm not that guy, right? Like I'm not the guy that I know people are that. I know people can do that. Here's what I do. Is it a great smoke? Like that, because that's what I want. If you get any number of notes off it, that's fantastic.
I did.
I love
the retro had great Antarctic cinnamon, and there's a nice club baby seal fattiness that was coming through.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Hints of China White. Yeah. No,
exactly.
yeah,
I think I could work for Half Wheel now. You
yeah.
think Charlie would hire me?
I love Half Wheel. Don't do
You think
that.
Charlie would hire me? I can give a
Shout
review
out to
just like
Half
he
Wheel. Those
does
are my
out there.
guys.
That's right. Yeah, we've got the Australian dingo ass pedal flower that
Look,
just
there are
smells
but there are guys that can do that, and maybe my palate just isn't that sophisticated, and I'm okay with that. But what I can tell is, is that horse going to run? I know it is. I'm not really worried about, how many, you know, paces it beats the other horse by, how many furlongs. Did it win? We're good. Okay, I won the race. Bet. That's all I needed to know. I don't care if it's by a nose.
Yeah, no, and
Did
I
you
agree.
did you enjoy the smoke? Because if you didn't enjoy it, then I failed.
I like yes, I'm one of those guys, and I built my brand on being one of those guys that could tell you break down the woody notes and all that. But like I tell people who ask me all the time, I can't pick. I go, did you like it? Yes,
Yeah.
that's all that matters. It doesn't matter whether or not you get the same taste I get. That I can break down that had that bitter cocoa there, about an 80% cocoa in it. Doesn't matter. Did you
Yeah.
like the cigar? Did it taste good to
Yeah.
you? Is the
Yep.
cigar for you? Because for me, there's no such thing as a bad cigar. There's cigars that are for me and cigars that aren't for me. But just because it's not for me doesn't mean it's not a good cigar.
That comes down to taste. Now you can listen. There is good and bad, right? But we know what that is because typically with good and bad, it's not about a subjective taste thing. You light it up and go, oh wait, oh wait, no. That is not subjective. Typically, something is wrong at that point, whether it's young or
Well,
whether it was just a
yeah,
bad
but I
blend.
that's that comes down to the Q&A process more so than it comes down to the cigars
Oh
in
yeah,
general out
oh yeah,
there.
oh yeah.
And there's I there are brands out there that we all know. We all know the brands out there that look, they're kind of trash cigars, but they're huge. They what they do is huge.
I don't listen. I know the people that come in at $8 and they get the Toro that's as long as my arm, and it's a value smoke. And I get, and you know what, enjoy it. Like if that's your bag, who am I to say that's not good? Since this is subjective, if you enjoy it, guess what? The best cigar you're smoking, what do they say? It's the one you're smoking. That's the
Is the
best cigar.
you have in your
So
hand right now.
so
There's a
so go.
reason why like Gurkha is the number one selling cigar brand in the world. It's a value cigar, and it hits a certain aspect of people who want to smoke but can't. They're on a budget. They can't afford anything else. And by all means, I'm not trashing Gurkha by any means. They have hit a aspect of cigar smokers that are in their niche and wheelhouse. And by all means, if you like it and it's for you and it works for you, smoke it, man. I'm not going to criticize you. That's
No,
you.
I'm not in the game of. I would love. I would always like to offer something. Hey man, you should try this, or hey, you should try that. But I'm not in the. I will. Look, I don't have an opinion, good or bad, of Gurkha on their blends. What I will say about Gurkha is, and maybe it's a cue that other brands don't do outside of maybe Caldwell or Rojas. There's a few others, do it, but and Ramona One, of course. They're really good at packaging. One thing Gurkha is really good at. I mean, they have figured that out. If you want to stand out in a humidor, take a tracing paper to whatever their packaging is and stick it on your shit because they do a great job of standing out in a humidor. And
That's
that
right.
is half the
And
battle.
put
People
a
do
$5
shop with
price
their
tag
eyes.
on it. That also
Well,
helps stand out.
they're not. I mean, not all of them are that cheap. I don't. There's some cookers. Not remember. I remember when I started smoking. since '99. Gurkhas weren't cheap. In fact, they were in tubes and they were flavored. The test tube joints. Remember that
They had the cognac. They did the cognac.
yeah,
They had the
that
cognac
was
infused ones, but they also started out as a house blend for Cigars International.
yeah. I the weird thing about it is I never saw. All I ever saw was the infused, and they weren't cheap. I'm talking about I was walking to humidors and 99 and go, wow, that looks fancy. Because then I didn't know anything about cigars at that point. I was like, oh, that's nice. I didn't know what infused was. I didn't know what it was all about. I don't know if acid had that deep a market penetration at that point or not. Maybe.
I I
Uh,
I don't think so. I know that I started, about 2002, 2003. I really started seeing acids more and more pop up in humidors.
Look,
Where
if you want to talk about a product that moves,
acid, yeah,
if you want to talk about a product that moves off of a shelf, I've never I helped a friend at a beer festival sell cigars, and we're picking up stuff from his shop, and we're grabbing this and grabbing that, Room 101s and Caldwells and all the stuff I like, and grabbing all this shit. He's like, right, where are the acids? I'm like, you want me to grab acids? He's like, dude, take 15 boxes. I'm like, 15 boxes of acid? What are you talking about? And so we put them on the table, and damn it, gone. Everything else still on the table. And so they figured it out. Kudos to them for a great business model. They figured it out. And it's hard for me to knock acid because I know a lot of people that got in the game that way.
it's
a
good
lot of
it's a
people
good
that got in the
starter
game
smoke.
that way.
It's a good starter smoke. People look. It's the number one cigar choice for women, and for women, it gets the women. For a lot of women, that's what got women into the game, and then they've just kind of advanced their palates from there.
Because we're going to get some angry messages here in a minute because Mo's about to kill you. It isn't just the women, because I know there's a lot of 6'5" brothers I've seen walk through the door asking for a Cuba Cuba. Let's just keep it real, even now. So, but I will say this: I do remember way before I met my wife, honey. If you're watching this, way before I met you, I'd go out on dates and like I got to clarify this shit quick. I go out on dates and like I'd bring along a Java so that she could smoke. Remember the flat box joint? That flat, yes. Yeah. So the box press, I don't even know if that's a box press. It was more like a graham cracker press, whatever it was.
Wafer
press, yeah. So, which is a cool concept that I think they could have done. Like somebody should do that with just good tobacco and see what happens. That'd be interesting to see. But anyway. And that was a way for it. We'd go to the park or whatever and have that light up. It'd be a cool, oh, this is cool. And then you could smoke your cigar, right? Because she was there with you. So it worked out. Honey, this is years. This is like 20 years ago. So I don't want to die. But yeah. So yeah, I don't want to knock Gurkha or any of them because they're gateways. I have critiques because of where I'm at now. But then again, they're way better at this business than I am. I mean, if you want to talk about successful cigar band, you can't name two better ones other than Fuente. But what are you going to do?
They have the longevity out there. They're in every humidor across this nation, and they sell. And that's what shop owners want. They want product that's going to sell.
And the compliment that I have to give Jonathan Drew that I gave to Rocky, because Rocky very much is the same. I mean, he's massive. They're very good at connecting with people, and I mean, Jonathan Drew is like the nicest guy in the world anyway. But like when they meet you, they meet you like they're meeting an old friend, and that's a skill. And I can make the argument that nobody does a better job of cultivating a constant connection with their customers than Drew Estate. I mean, that the barn smokers alone, I mean, they do a great job of connecting, and that's what I was getting to earlier about Drew Estate's not really in the business of selling cigars. they're selling themselves, and then the cigars just sell themselves
But I
because
think
people build that
they
connection.
experience if you go to a Drew Estate event. You're getting an experience,
Right.
is what you're paying for.
But you're emotionally attached now. Why do
Yes.
people go out and buy the same car, whether it's made well or not? Because they're emotionally attached. I know people who will only buy GM or only buy a Toyota or only buy this or only buy that. Well, you don't necessarily know if this model is going to be a lemon this year or not. It doesn't matter. You are emotionally attached to the brand. I knew people that would only buy menthols, only buy Marlboro Reds. It's all cigarettes. Doesn't matter. They were attached to the brand. And that is when you can do that, when you can manufacture that, you can sell anything. And it's a bonus if it's good, right? So that's my hope is okay, I'll keep starting small operation. I'm a blip on the radar to everybody else. I'm okay with that. The people who smoke the product, do they love it? Because you're going to tell 3 other people. So like I said, it's going to multiply at its own rate. I'm okay with that. Can I keep making great product? Everybody else will figure it out. They'll find you. Keep making great product. What did Deion Sanders say? Keep making plays.
That's
Keep
right.
making plays. So the number one thing is it has to be a great smoke because I can't fake that part.
No, I don't think so. But when you can, I think the passion for when you talk about your brand, what you've put into it, the blood, sweat, the tears into the brand, the way you talk about it, you do an excellent job in selling the brand, wanting people to now people you've piqued people's interest and like I gotta try this out. It's the way he talks about it. And I think that's what you do very well on the marketing side of the brand is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you've equated it and you've tapped into people's feelings and emotions on that hard work.
Yeah. Well, once again, it's I come from a marketing background. I'm the son of a preacher, so that doesn't hurt. But because I loved this before I ever sold it, right? Like I love just hanging out. I love the fact that I could sit I could sit in a room with Democrats, Republicans, rich, poor, white, black, male, female. It doesn't fucking matter. For this moment in time, the moment in time we're all having a great cigar together, we become a fraternity of people no one else wants around anyway.
Yeah.
So we were united. It's like it's kind of like if you buy somebody a beer, you become friends because it's hard to hate somebody who just bought you a beer. If that makes any sense.
It's true.
When I was in college, stupid story. When I was in college, my car got stuck in the snow, and this random bro, and I mean definition of a frat boy bro, gamma gamma kega, whatever, straight out of Revenge of the Nerds kind of thing, helped me push my car out of the snow. Didn't even know who I was. It was just being nice. And I'd already prejudged this guy, which I shouldn't have. And I saw him later that night at the bar. And I picked up like 4 or 5 pictures and just brought it to the table, him and his boys. Now you're a legend, right? Because you done bought all this beer for the guys. But that's what cigars were. You hand a guy a cigar, it's hard not to get along, even if you don't agree on shit. Let me tell you, if I'm sitting next to a Raiders fan, it's tough for me as a Chiefs fan to sit next to that motherfucker. But if he hands me a cigar, we're going to have something to talk about.
Exactly.
And so the passion comes from that, the connections and the friendships built through this product that connects people. It connects people. And that's why I care about it. And that's why I want to make a great product, because I appreciate the connections. I appreciate the fact that I learned something different from the person next to me, that I build lasting friendships with people I would never speak to, wouldn't have crossed the street to meet. But because we both love cigars, we both enjoy that. There's a moment of bliss when you're smoking. There's like whether you're with a group or you're alone, there's a moment. You take a puff and you relax. I don't know if it's a dopamine release. I don't know what chemicals being released, but there's a moment where you are not concerned with the stresses of everyday life. You're not concerned with what was ever going on, who yelled at you, how work went. There's a moment where you just exhale and there is pure peace.
No,
And
I agree.
that's a high we've all chased with cigars. That is, you talk about a high. When you go, all's right with the world. that's why I care about what I make, because I want to make sure other people have that moment, and I hope I can be responsible for some of them.
I think you've done an excellent job, man. And it's been an honor having you on. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk about your brand, yourself.
We yapped for 2 hours, dude. How'd you keep me on here for 2 hours, man?
I'm that good at interviewing. That's how.
Jesus.
I'm that good.
Oh my God. You managed to keep me on through literally a fire. So congratulations.
You're welcome.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Everybody, once again, I hope you guys are regular listeners, because this show is amazing. Regular viewers too, obviously. This show is amazing. I'm completely just thrown off by the drool worthy bucket. What is the drool bucket worthy? What is this? The drool bucket is killing me.
It's one of the highest honors that any cigar can get laid upon.
That shit is so wild, man. I gotta figure out something to do with that. That shit's fire.
That's
all right.
Right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's an honor. If you ever need me to come in and blab and be stupid again, just have me on. I'll do my best to soft shoe it.
Oh, I appreciate that. So people get the Upper Kingdom. It is a drool bucket worthy stick. Highly recommend that cigar.
RSONFire.com.
There you go.
Right there. Buy it now. Okay.
That's right. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, there are direct links. I'll take you to everything Arson. So you can click on that and get connected with them via social media. If you're watching on LinkedIn, you'll have to figure out which link takes you where, because LinkedIn does things differently.
If you're watching on LinkedIn, I got concerns. What you were applying for a job and decided to watch this? What are you doing? No,
I'm honestly shocked by the analytics of the LinkedIn numbers.
What is going on LinkedIn? What?
I don't know what's going on LinkedIn, but there are people. Not too many people comment from LinkedIn, but people are watching, and I thank you for taking the time to watch.
Somebody's going, yeah, Mom, I'm applying for jobs. Okay. That's great. All right, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
That's right. Next Monday night, Michael with Mary Brands is going to be my guest. He's going to talk about his cannabis cigars and THC infused cigars. My ex-girlfriend is going to be my special guest co-host, because I know nothing about cannabis and I needed a pothead to smoke the cigars. So she's going to...
Somebody's got to bring the cheese puffs.
Exactly. So she's going to get tanked. She's already been smelling the cigars that came in the tube that he sent me, and she can't contain herself, and she wants to light them up now. So
come on. Okay. All right.
Got that. And Tuesday night, next Tuesday night, IG Live, Panor Cigars will be the featured cigar on that. And Anthony Cruz from the 1-to-1 Mini Podcast Project will be my guest co-host. So come tune in next week for 2 great shows, Monday and Tuesday night. That's it for tonight, guys. Araia, thank you so much for taking the time to come on. I appreciate it.
My man.
Y'all, take care. Be safe out there. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, because we're sweet and innocent boys. And we'll see you next time around. Peace out.